Hey, everybody. It's the 10th of October, 2023. It's my little brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Pat. This is Gimbalabs Playground, Season 3. We've been doing this since the early days of 2021 and been building up a little space where people can get together and talk about projects they're working on. It could be a fully fleshed out project like Hinson is going to share with us today, or it could be the tiniest kernel of an idea, and you just need a group of people to kind of test it out with and see if it can become anything real. The way it works is we meet every Tuesday at this time, 1800 UTC. There's a Miro board here. It's linked at gimbalabs.com/playground. You can find it. And sign up works like this. You find this chart right here. I'll zoom out so you can see. It's at the top of the page. You write your name. It can be your name or the name of your team, what you'd like to present on, and just a way to get in touch with you. And that's all. You're officially scheduled, and we expect you to show up. So thanks, everybody, for being part of this distributed permissionless community where you sign up and join in. The way the agenda usually works is we have a few minutes just to share, catch up and say hey. But then most of the time is reserved, 75 minutes, for a presentation and a discussion. The presentation, it could be long or it could be short. Maybe you just want to give a pitch for just a few minutes and then open up a big picture conversation. Maybe you want to start a longer conversation about something you've been thinking about. All of those models work. When you're the presenter, the floor is yours to share whatever you'd like and to open up whatever conversation you want. Anybody have any questions about how Playground works? All right, and it's either, right, Hinson, this is either going to be just a great artifact to have. We're already live streaming, and you'll be able to get the link on YouTube afterwards to share it however you want. Or this is practice, but I love the time capsule nature of these things. We've had a few people present a couple times over the years. I think this is your second time presenting after sharing the whatever endpoints. So yeah, it's great to see these time capsules of ideas as they grow, and no question, if you present once, you're always welcome back to keep going. The next few weeks, we're doing a little experiment. There's a startup growing out of Gimbalabs right now called Andamio, and our team would like to present on it next week and a couple times over the next few months. And in a similar way, we're building Mesh PBL. So people might have heard about the Mesh SDK. It's a TypeScript library for Cardano development. And they recently had a Catalyst proposal approved to fund an onboarding and documentation site. And so we're collaborating with them to build that. And we needed some space just to get out into the community and talk about that work. So instead of starting up a different meeting, we're going to use a series of these playground sessions to talk about Mesh PBL, what's going on, and what the opportunities for getting involved are. So looking forward to that as an experiment. Don't worry, you don't have to pay to present a playground. Once again, here's the process. Find an open line, and you're officially signed up. That's all from me. I am very excited to have Hinson here from Cardano Name Service and a couple other projects, but this is the thing you've been focused on most recently, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. It's great to have you back. I know we first got to know each other building stuff in kind of the early iterations of the Plutus PBL program at Gimbalabs. And it was really fun building a couple things with you. And I still have ideas. We're going to use those endpoints. There just hasn't quite been the reason to put them in production yet. But like everything, we've been building a lot of pieces for things that are just starting to come together right now. So what have you got for us today?
Okay, I was on mute. So, first of all, I very appreciate this platform for me to talk about this project. This is one of the very cute pieces that I have been focusing on in the past half years. Although for some of the technical details, I may not be able to share in depth right now, but I hopefully in the futures, maybe after the mainnet launch, I will get the green light to also share all of the technical side that involved, because it's pretty interesting. I have employed different techniques to make this thing happen. And also, by the way, in the process of building these things, I also, by the way, have built some Cardano toolings. So maybe in the, let's say in the future session, I'm very happy to share about it. It's literally just around the full stack from the front end, incorporating Cardano serialization library, some with mesh, and also with some util functions. And also there are some boilerplate on the microservices deploying to the Dockers to build the transaction on the backend, multi-sig on the backend. There are a lot of cool infrastructure going on in this project. In the futures, I would be also very happy to share all of these to the communities, because this is one of the places where I come from. At the very beginning of my Plutus journey, I also joined the BPPL and got some very cool techniques from these communities. So it's always good for me to kind of contribute back to these communities. So yeah, there's a very brief forwards, and let's jump into the contest. So today, I will talk a bit about CNS, what Cardano name service is, and this is the same pitch that I used for the token 2049 at the Emergo booth. And after this very brief intro about what CNN is, I will also run a bit of demo on what we are testing on the pre-production testnet right now with some of the front ends that I can show to you guys. So that's probably what you expect when Cardano name service goes to the mainnet launch. And yeah, so firstly, maybe let me go through the deck. So for this Cardano name service, we're solving some of the very specific challenges in the crypto ecosystem, especially in the Cardano ecosystem. First of all, is that I will talk about the third point first. Is that because in the Cardano ecosystem currently I think that we still lack a digital identity in a decentralized way, because there are some focuses, let's say on the Atala Prism side, they are more focusing onto the real identity but put it on the blockchain. But something like Ethereum name service, those are the identity that user might want to have in a purely digital way. Like if I feel comfortable, I could link my personal identity to a CNS. But if I not feeling that comfortable, I could also keep all of my digital activities linked to the CNS. So this is one of the angle that we built on this route, is that we want to build one digital identities that give the users the flexibility to link any of the information you want to a CNS. So wallet address is just one very entry point or simple information that you will be natively linked to the CNS, but we are more than that. So the focus on this project would be more on the social area, because this is one of the kind of the direction the team has been identified, is that right now for the social information, especially in the crypto world, is quite scattered. Like when I have been to the token 2049 in Singapore in the past month, when we try to talk to different crypto, let's say founders or builders, investors, usually we have to do several introduction to each other's. Like when this is the first time that I met Django from Mesh in person, is that I met him in the Cardano Emergo booth in token 2049. But when we talk to each other, at first we didn't really realize that I'm whatever and he's Django. But after quite a few conversations, like 10 minutes after I pitched him on CNS, he started to realize that I am the guy that he has been working with together on Mesh like since a year ago. So this is one of the pain points, is that when we meet someone in person, or you just want to chat with each other in the internet, the social data is pretty much very scattered. Like Django only knows me from Discord or maybe GitHub. that we didn't know each other, let's say other informations. And when we want to communicate this piece of information, it's pretty time consuming, and also spend a lot of efforts. So in CNS, one of the core products we are building on in our first phase is trying to solve this product pain point or problem. And yeah, so I may also explain the second point as well. Pretty much it's just when the information is scattered, it's quite difficult to make connection in a efficient way. So this is the very high level vision of DNS, is that we want to use Cardano as a base technology, the Cardano blockchain as a base technology to help people to connect and to build some valuable interaction and connections. And we want to use DNS as kind of the centers as Cardano identity for every kind of community participants to represent themselves, whether you are a developer, investors, enthusiasts, or just any people that just interested in Cardano's. Maybe that will be the core of your digital identity. You can put whatever information you want attached to it. And this is one of our kind of the extended utility we built out of DNS course. Because I could do a little bit of technical talk, is that we spend a lot of efforts into making CNS a true Plutus NFT. Like the users will get the discretion to choose their token name, but it will be minted out of the same policy ID. And we distribute in a quite efficient way. So this is the core technology CNS process, is that users could pick your token name. Like I will reserve one CNS called Hinson.ADA for myself. But if there is another person trying to mint Hinson.ADA, it's impossible because it has the on-chain guarantee to prevent the double minting. So based on this premise, several identity utility could be extended. Like we are quite confident that if I try to link the information of Hinson.ADA to this CNS, it's pretty much just single Hinson.ADA will ever exist on the Cardano blockchain. So several other information could be linked to it as well. So in the CNS project team, we hosted one of the information, which is a social information. In this social graph, you could set different handles on different platforms linked to your CNS. So one of the core features we'll be focusing on will be the Telegram, because we are also building one Telegram bot. So that, let's say if any of you are going to the Cardano Summit in Dubai, me and my team will be going as well. So I can show you one CNS QR code. You scan that, and you'll be linked to the TG bot that you could also put some of your notes. You will see my social graph as well, so that when I kind of try to initiate the communication with you, you will see all sorts of information, and also some information that I want to show you that will be enable more efficient connection between different people. So I could also add one more note on this features as well, because on the very early of the iteration, when we talk to different potential partnership, we have got some feedback is that if I'm not that person, let's say I'm not James, but I set James' Telegram into this information, it's kind of our project team cannot enforce it, because this is a user's freedom to set whatever information they want. But what we could do is that we could do a two-way verifications. This has been already implemented to the Telegram, because we have the Telegram bot. Users have to go, users can go to the Telegram bot to hit some verify command, so that we will do the two-way verification. So that when we fill the information here, DNS team will show you a blue text if you have already verified on that platform. But we'll be gradually supporting different other platforms as well, such as Discord is another pretty straightforward verification that we could do, because we could do this Discord bot as well. And yeah, but we certainly accept feedback on improving the product, because we pretty want to position CNS as the core of the digital identity on the Cardano ecosystem, and we intake different feedbacks to improve the products as well. And a side note on this is that, because you may notice that it's kind of just the additional piece of information attached to the CNS. So technically, any piece of information could be attached to CNS as well. I have the two scripts here because here I've deployed the technique is that there's one validator and one maintain policy attached with this piece of information application. And let's say if Gimbalabs would also want to attach some information onto the CNS for the same set of script, we could deploy another set of script, and then other Gimbalabs related information could be attached to CNS as well. And in the later of the process, we just have to create, let's say, a pull request to our resolver SDK. And then we could also incorporate Gimbalabs information onto CNS. So when people scan the CNS QR code, some Gimbalabs related credentials, let's say PPBL attendance records, or maybe open source contributors roles will also be shown to the CNS as well. But this could be verified by the Gimbalabs team because we could customize the script a bit to also accept, let's say, some of the keys from Gimbalabs admins to be the guard to add the information on that. So it's pretty interesting, and we are quite open to different kinds of collaborations. Like if you are hosting some other projects as well, if you want to incorporate some of the user behaviors or user, let's say, title or something, we could also get it done into CNS as well. So that let's say in the long run, we could imagine that when I show the CNS to everybody, there'll be a lot of different Cardano footprint associated with it if you're an enthusiast in the Cardano ecosystems. So this is what we are envisioning CNS to do. Yeah, so this is pretty much just similar to what I've been saying. And yeah, this is the QR code features that I've been talking. If you scan the QR code, you will link it to the user's record page, and then some information will be shown. So let's say James would also interested in extended utility. Maybe we could expect there will be some Gimbalabs search or logos or role information will be showing in this page as well. We could do it together, right? And yeah, this is something like a basic resolver function, just like either handles. And yep, this slide talk about a bit on the technical side is that I'm deploying a customized data structure so that in each UTXO, we can store up to 4,000 minting records. Like this is a pretty efficient way because in the early stage of our development, we try to use some pretest TX native data structure, like the ASO map or simply a list. Usually, it could only store up to 100 or something like 100 records per UTXO, and it's pretty expensive because as this maximum of this datum size, it takes around 28 as a min UTXOs. So the application could not be scalable or scalable at a very high cost. So we kind of do a lot of innovation early on in the project. And personally, I'm very willing or happy to share how I could employ this technique and possibly some other Cardano projects, NFT projects, to also employ this techniques as well. But I also have to get the green light from team prior to doing that. So maybe the open sourcing part will be later in the later stage. But I'm very happy to share this technique. So CNS has employed this as a core technique. So we have pretty much a very lightweighted protocol to, let's say, in our first phase, we are deploying into 500 UTXOs. So probably it's quite easy for us to scale to up to 1 million or 2 million users minting CNS. The apps could still accept the kind of the scale, but we are just having to lock up to, let's say, around 10,000 ADAs as min UTXO. It's pretty small as to hold such a large registry. So this is the core technique that we have. So CNS is a project incubated by Amerigo and First. So they are our investor and backer. And if you would like to keep contact, just feel free to just add these social medias or stuff. So maybe I could have a very quick pause here to see if there's any question from the floor.
Hey, everybody, if you're just showing up, good to see you. And if you're new here, yeah, don't be afraid to unmute, or if you'd rather just type questions in the chat, I'll be happy to read
Yeah,
those.
yeah. Yeah, I'm also very happy to answer some of the questions. If there's no question right now at this moment, maybe I could also do a very quick demo on the.
I got one. I mean, just it's.
Yeah.
I love that you led with some of the tooling that was built to make this whole thing work, and it's just thrilling to know that that's there. I know
Yeah.
we've talked about a few of those things you've been building along the way. But yeah, anytime that you have the green light from the team and you want to come do a more technical deep dive with a live coding session,
Yeah.
this is such great patterns that you're building on for new
Yeah.
devs to start learning about. I guess that's not a
Actually,
question. It's really exciting.
there are two layers of different toolings. So the first layer is that all of the kind of the techniques surrounding building this stuff, like for our backend, where it's a boilerplate, or for the front end, and there are some utils functions. Those are the things that I could share anytime. But yeah, maybe probably better after this because I still have to sprint for the final piece of work. And the second part of the tooling is just more like a case sharing, but not tooling. Is more about really the source code of CNS. Because this is pretty interesting in the data structure, also employ some technique like the latest process development has been finally included in the official package. It's a bitwise operation. I've deployed my own bitwise operation in this data structure to make this 4,000 records per UTSO happen. So probably for the sharing, there will be two parts. So I would definitely schedule some of the live coding sessions to talk about some of these toolings. And actually, prior to this session, I'm also building another tooling as well. It's just come out from the Plutus Pioneer program when they do the dev container environment to do the Haskell coding. And I customized or I amended it a bit in order to fit in the latest checkout tag. And also I built up some of the kind of the folder structures and also the test basic testing snippet that I've been using in a very highly repeatable way. So I hopefully I will just make it public right ahead anyway, but maybe in the next month I could also schedule some sessions to talk about all of the toolings together maybe.
There's one question in the chat. Could you give just a high level view of the tech stack that you used?
Yeah, so maybe starting from the Plutus side, I'm just doing it in a very old school way. I just using the plain Plutus TX for the on-chain code. But throughout the process, literally I just kind of get the feeling of how to optimize it to a way that is not much different with the some of the latest DSL. Like some of the very old techniques everyone knows probably, but if you do not care much for that, it really has some very severe damage on the performance. Just like you always use full R over full L. these are the tracks like. But for the on-chain code, we are just using the plain Plutus TX. And as of the off-chain code side, we started off trying to relying everything on Mesh, but because our transaction is just too complex, and in our team we are also getting a little bit of support from Emergo as well. So we are using the plain Cardano serialization library to build all of our off-chain codes. And in the process of building it, me and another Cardano dev on team, we also discussed a bit how we could improve Mesh by introducing some of the middle layers into Mesh as well. Because these are the feedback that we also give to Jingles in the process of building CNS, is that Mesh is a little bit too opinionated. like its endpoint is too high level. For some of the more complex dApp like CNS, I think the minting transaction itself is pretty complex. I could show you in a bit later in the live coding in the pre-production testnet. But when the transaction is just too complicated, it's quite important for us to have the capability to going back to the lower level to control the transaction. That's the feedback that I give to Jingles, and we are also scheduling core for improving mesh in that particular layers as well. So yeah, so plain Cardano serialization lab is the off-chain code. And as of the front end, we are just using Next.js as PPPL. I remember PPPL is also using Next.js as well. We add Next.js. And then on our back end, we are deploying into serverless and also Docker image deploying on ECS. So yeah, these are pretty much the tests that we're using. But on the back end, we are mostly TypeScript at this moment because it's natively compatible with the Cardano serialization library. We also do the multi-sig on the back end. So yeah, that's pretty much the stack that we're using. And as of the optimization, we also plug in the Plutonomy, but we are not direct, but we are not that hardcore to use Plutouch. It's just too difficult to customize every functions when using Plutouch, especially when I got involved to build CNS. It's just like I have just a few months to build this thing out. So we are just using plain PlutusDX, but when it's compiler, we are using Plutonomy. It does really help because it kind of optimize every script like to have 30 to 50% better performance, like in size or any other areas as well. So it's a pretty simple tricks that every Cardano dev could try to employ, I would say. Yeah, I could also share more experience on this later on, maybe in a separate sessions in live coding. We didn't launch yet. We target to launch somewhere around the Cardano Summit in Dubai. Probably by the time we have arrived to Dubai, the production script will be already deployed. Like we will already deployed to the mainnet by the time we arrive to Dubai. But the thing is that we might have minted some of the team CNS in order to do some live product demo in Dubai. But for some of the non-Cardano specific features, we might have to think about whether we have a full launch by that time. So I guess the launching time will be somewhere around a Cardano Summit. Import the minting contract to GC. What is GC? I'm not sure.
Game Changer Finance just launched their new V2 wallet, and they've been doing a lot with kind of plug and play Plutus scripts.
I see. Yeah, maybe we could do that. I'm not sure for this.
And Darlington, hey.
Hey, I have to hop off here, unfortunately, but I was wondering about tooling for integration, and if a wallet wanted to support it and stuff like that, what does that look like?
You mean the wallet supporting for resolving the address, or?
Yeah, like tooling for resolving, or a dApp, or a website or something.
You mean resolving CNS records? Like
Yeah, right.
yeah, basically we have already got a beta resolver SDK. It's open source, so maybe I could show you right now. Wait a sec. So we have one public repo called here. Could you say it? So this is our CNS Resolver SDK. So basically it's just pretty straightforward. Currently, we are supporting 2 different node servers, BlockForce and also Maestro. So when you add this repo to add this package to your project in JavaScript and TypeScript, and then you could just import like this, and then you could resolve any information you want for the CNS. So some of the very native information is the address, and also we have the feature of virtual domain as well. So we also resolve the address on that. And for the records, there'll be other endpoints to resolve as well, like using the resolve social records, and then you also plug in the key of, let's say, Telegram, and then you could resolve the Telegram handles for that particular CNS owner. Yeah, so you could check this out
Cool.
if you're interested.
Yeah, and so when you do the update, or is it possible to update, or do you just let it? You just create a new record. Can you update a CNS?
Yeah.
Or
literally, basically for the CNS records, we are just locking the reference token in a separate validator, and all of the records will kind of exist as the inline datum attached with that UTXOs. So basically, we could do any of the update over there. Just in our just in our project, we will have a kind of a designated data structure, so that if you are updating through our website, the data structure will always be this. And in our Resolver SDK, it will be always successful to kind of resolve the information to you. But the core logic is that if you don't have currently for this record, if you don't have the record set as well, if you don't have your record set before the transaction, it will initiate a minting record with the inline datum. But as long as you have been already minted one, and our system could detect it, and the second transaction you interacting with your CNS will be just respending the token into the validators with the updated inline datum. So this is how it works under the hood.
that is cool.
Yeah.
Would the SDK have support for updates and stuff, or just consuming?
This is just for resolving, updating stuff.
Just for resolving. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that may be the last thing too on this resolving part. Is it talking of? I can go through the code. I suppose I saw it fetcher.ts filing here. Is it talking to anything other than anything remote besides Maestro, or what's the other one?
The BlockForce.
Those
are the So those are the node service provider. So literally, you just want to connect with one of the node service provider, and then we are just doing the chain query directly, asking for the Cardano blockchain to get the information down and then pass it for you. And as
that's the only dependency?
Yeah, that's the only dependency. Actually, the implementation is pretty simple. I was just building it out of 1 or 2 days. So you could take a look into it. It's through the open source.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. Yeah. Let's tell the wallets about this thing.
Yeah. So you could take a look on that. If you got any suggestions or any issues, just create an issue. It's fine. I will take a look at it. Probably you could also ping me on Discord or Twitter. I will also follow up. Yeah. So thanks, James, for putting this information there. Yeah. So maybe I could do a bit of live demo from here. Can you guys see the screen? So this is the actual what to expect. This is what we have deployed on the pre-production testnet, and you could connect the wallet. And this is so this is connected to the pre-production testnet. And upon this launch, we will also have some auction features as well. There will be some dedicated category. We will choose some of them out to do the auctions. And yeah, so it's pretty much that's it for the website itself. So if you want to, let's say, mint a CNS or Gimbalabs, maybe just search it here. Or actually, if you're interested with any of the CNS, you can just search it here. And if it's detected with a auction domain, we'll route you to the auction page. And this is a minting page. And you could choose the expiry. So for the price, I'm not sure if it is the finalized one, but we are testing out with these numbers. And then you do the minting. It's pretty slow because we're doing in a kind of the testing environment. So here you can see
that's going on. Oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is this is the transaction. I could show you a bit as it's quite a very complex transaction. We have several scripts involved here, and some of them are referenced, some of them are being spent. But the gist is that I've been spent a lot of effort to making this happen. Is that by the same transaction, you could see the CNS is going to your wallet. So the users get the end-to-end control in the minting process. So unlike many other dApps, I would say, because it's quite difficult to do it. There's not a kind of a complaint or other stuff, but it's quite difficult to do it. But in CNS, we do a lot of optimizations so that we kind of want to make sure users at this first transaction interacting with the CNS do actually get the control to see this output and having this NFT directly sent to their wallet after this transaction has been signed. But there are some dApps outside the Cardano ecosystem is that probably you will see a very simple transactions. You will sending the fee to the wallet, and there will be maybe there's an output sending to a script with some inline datum, and then for the dApp themselves, they will process that backend to help you to push through the transactions to finally mint, let's say, a token or execute other process for you. So that's another pretty common architectures as well, because of the very stringent execution unit and also transaction size limitation. It makes sense for some of the application to have to do that kind of architectures. But we in CSS, we just try to make this application as decentralized as possible. Although in this minting transaction, it do require us to sign it, but you can see that from this transaction, CNS side has been already signed this transaction. So this is the user's final step to do a multi-sig on this transaction, and then you can see that all of the record will be updated. Because as Arthur mentioned, we have split it into 500 something UTXO. In this particular CNS is actually routed to the 441th UTXO to amend the records. So yeah, so it's pretty much how the transactions looks like. And because it's pretty
Wait, is that a
complex
token name right there? So it's CNS record 441. That's the name of the token in the UTXO.
That's
and
a token name.
Track there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And this is the actual output minting to my wallet.
So the one thing that was going through my head, what I was looking at the code at the SDK here is the expiry thing. Why is there an expiry thing?
it is a kind of the business decision, but it is kind of a soft limit because when we are doing the kind of I'm not part of the business team in the team, but when they're doing the projection, it's quite difficult to resonate all the costs involved in building this project. So when they're doing the projection, they also include the expiry. This is somehow could be seated as a two-sided. So from one side, from the user's perspective, it will make the CNS service more costly, right? But on another side, it kind of giving the economic incentive for the team to keep maintaining and adding utility to it, but not just after minting the CNS out, the project is end. We certainly don't want to do it because we kind of envision CNS as, let's say there'll be much more integration going forward. Like maybe Gimbalabs is maybe one of the integrations that we could put on some of the credentials, but there are also other projects or Cardano related activities we will also like to incorporate. That will require continuous effort from development teams. But development doesn't come from anywhere, right? We still have to make a living out of doing all this stuff. So this is maybe the business side concern to also add the expiry stuff to make this protocol more sustainable. This is the business side. But the expiry stuff is actually technically pretty much a soft limit. Because for this piece of information, we just attach it to the metadata. You can see it. The expiry is linked here. So when we talk to different projects to resolving different information, literally you could just read it and use it and ignoring the expiry. So this is really up to our partners how they're doing it. Because one of the core partner is the wallet side, is that we are also talking with different projects to also incorporate the super basic feature of routing addresses. But although there are some other technical difficulties, let's say because we are kind of using new data structure in the virtual domain side, and also they're quite concerning that CNS is clashing the suffix of either domains. So that currently our team is also drafting a CIP on suggesting the wallet provider how to handle this kind of situation when there's one Hinson.ada on CNS and another Hinson.ada on either domains. This is my next to-do stuff in this week. And despite all those things, but eventually it's really up to the wallet provider to decide whether to block on the expiry, because all of the information they could resolve on chain. And we kind of, in the technical architecture, we try to make it remains as a soft limit, is that whenever other partners or ecosystem member treasures the words from CNS, they might want to include this expiry to help the CNS team to have a more sustainable one way. But if you're just
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you just
makes total sense
don't like this thing, you could always bypass the expiry because you can see that this is just a piece of information attached with the tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. That ADAT, is that also arbitrary? Like it can be that hash key or that something else?
What do you mean?
The ADAT, the tab level, the extension, that can be anything, correct? Maybe?
Yeah. This is in our script design, and it might be in our later stage focus as well, because we are also have another business model is to talk with different potential partnership. Is that maybe let's say because I'm doing Playground here, I also use Gimbalabs as an example. Maybe we could collaborate with Gimbalabs to deploy with the extension of, let's say, Gimbals. Maybe we could use the same set of the CNS scripts to deploy these things. And there may be other kind of utility attached with the .gimbal CNS as well. So that might be in our future kind of roadmap of the project. But in the script design perspective, I've already left that part as the flexibility for the project team to also deploy other extension to the network as well.
Right.
But
And then
in CNS, the core product will be .ada, I would say.
that makes sense. Man, I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, host key name service. That would be great. I've been a big
Yeah,
fan of host
exactly.
key.
A lot of the husky. What was the other question? Oh, so the arbitrary data space, I think, is the third map. When you're adding other data to the record.
Yeah. This
Like,
part is something that I could
how
not
much?
disclose at this moment about how to do this trick. I have to get the business
Oh
approval to
no,
disclose.
not even that. Like, I'm just wondering how much data could you fit on there, right? Because the
Oh, you meant
Catalyst is going to this place
oh
where
you meant
it's going to be role based access control, right? Where you can have different roles. And I wonder if some of those other on-chain mapping, like like how extensible do you think how much stuff can you pack into one thing? I wonder.
you mean the user record, right? Like the Telegram,
Yeah.
Discord. Actually, it's
Yeah, right.
kind of it's kind of indefinitely extendable. Like, because in our kind of in our protocol side, we will only host one set of information, which is the virtual domain, social records, and some of the other records that we might be think of in the future. But let's say if there's any other information we'd like to attach to CNS, we will deploy a separate set of scripts, another validator and another reference token. And then we just have to get those information into merge into the Resolver SDK as well. And we will also put in onto our documentation that another set of policy ID will be resolving to another set of user records, and that will be fine. So answering your question,
is that dynamic, or does that, would that be a dynamic thing, or would that be something you have to manually update every time?
You could think it's kind of require manually updating every time. Like if we're deploying it to Gimbalabs, there will be one set of policy ID. It points to the reference token of the Gimbalabs user records. And maybe let's say we are partnering with let's say Emergo Academy, and then there will be another set of policy ID just referring to the records of Emergo Academy.
Okay. So the category or taxonomy has to be known ahead of time, as opposed to a key value.
It comes with because it comes with two reasons. The first reason is about the datum size. It's because there's you're very spot on. Is that it's around 4 to 8 kilobyte. It will be the maximum datum size that we could put on chain. But another very important or critical reason is that there will be different guards on the user records. Like in our core protocol CNS, we try not to making any guards on updating the records, because those are the users' records that they want to update on themselves. Like the virtual domain, they are just putting whatever address they want onto CNS. Like the social records, I just want to put my own Telegram, my Discord, or other information on that, where the CNS team could not validate whether it's correct or not, right? But let's say if we are deploying with Emergo Academy on the certificates, Emergo Academy themselves, they would like to do the guard on updating the records. So we have to have a slightly different validation logic on the reference token and the reference validators. So that's why we would like to deploy the user records set differently for different partnerships, because different partners would like to have different validation logic in updating the records. So that's another very important reason why we have such architectures as well.
Is it feasible to in your roadmap, in your planning and business decision, that partners could come up with those stats themselves and contribute it? Like, would that be part of the?
Actually, we are kind of very welcome to anyone kind of collabing with CNS. probably in our very beginning, we will open source the user records token and also the validators. So that for the community to take reference how to build extended utility out of CNS. And we are very happy to incorporate any kind of information as long as you find it interesting, because it will be your responsibility to push forward the utility. Like one angle is that you could talk to our team to incorporate that into the Web3 card or any kind of the flagship features CNS is hosting. But on the other hand, if you're not incorporate that kind of information into our core products, you could also use it anywhere. And then you will hold yourself responsible for promoting your own utility to the Cardano ecosystem. And from our project side, probably if you're not something very sketchy, we are very happy to merge your pull request into our resolver SDK, like just adding one policy and then adding one set of resolving utility functions is kind of very easy for us to do. And also, it will not harm any of our core applications. Like there'll be no harm to, let's say the Web3 cards and also any other core features. So as long as we do a very simple due diligence, we will be very happy to incorporate any other kind of information to our application. So you can always create a pull request or talk to me beforehand to see how to collaborate better to have a smooth, kind of more smooth, partnerships, I would say.
Lit dope. Thanks for the presentation. I'll catch you at the next one.
I love that question about the logic, the decision logic, the validation logic being custom to organizations. I feel like we might have to have a multidisciplinary workshop on some options there as these tools start getting out into the world.
So after the minting transaction, there'll be a bit of the front end polling here to update you a bit on the minting process. But it's pretty much the transaction has been already submitted to the Cardano blockchain as pending a bit of the update. And in our backend, we're also actively listening to the change. So if you're patient enough to stay on this page, you can see the process. But it doesn't matter for me to just jump to other page because the transaction has been already sent on chain. And so this is a kind of the minting process. So I could do a little bit more on the product demo. So here's the kind of the product demo. You can see your kind of the live auction activities here, but I do not have any auction right now, so you cannot see it. And from here, you could see what domain you have. And also, I've talked about the virtual domain. So if your CNS comes from the auction category, you could also configure virtual domains. Like here, I could do something like Hinson Uroy, and then there'll be, let's say, an address. Maybe let me pick one address very quickly. Just a moment. And then after I do the update, there'll be one transaction that updating the user record, building, and then sending on chain. So this is the transaction I've been talking through. Is that it's just using the reference validator and reference token, and then the user records, which is the virtual domain, will be updated to this validators. And then upon signing, and it will be slowly processing because it's on pre-production testnet. So it's pretty much kind of the virtual domain features is that after setting this will be the virtual domain I have. And I could always have, let's say our CNS team has been successfully integrated with the wallet provider. You could type hinson.hinson.uroy.ada, and then you could resolve to this address. So this is a kind of the core minting page of CNS. And here is somewhere you could configure your user records. Like I have this Hinson.ada already configured something so that I can show you here. You can see that, yeah, so this is the records. And when I talk about the blue text, is that when I have done the two-way verification from Telegrams, and this is already verified in our backend, then a blue tick will be shown here. So the process is pretty similar. It's pretty simple. Is that when you entering our Telegram bot with your own user account, when you talk to our Telegram bot, we will get your Telegram handles, and then that particular handle is sent to our backend, and then we will run the resolver SDK to check whether Hinson.ada's Telegram record is set as the true handle, and if the two records are tied, and then we will kind of giving you a verified status here, so that when we are talk to different people, it's kind of very confidence for the another person to know that this is actually your Telegram handle because it's verified by the CNS team. Yeah, so this is the Web3 card that I've been talking about. Is that when, let's say if we are bidding it at any event, you could always scan this QR code, and then there will be link, should be linked to my page, but I'm not sure if this feature has been finished at this moment. So let me quickly check. Yeah, you could try to scan this QR code to kind of preview our our product at this moment. Yeah, so maybe I just hold this up a bit. But please expect there will be there may be some styling or buzz happening because we are
What's this
iterating with
Vercel.app domain I'm getting right here?
yeah.
That looks great, man. Good job. That's good to see.
Yeah.
How often does the QR code update?
Actually, I remember it will not be updated because this link is tied to your CNS. It's a one-to-one tie to your CNS.
Nice. Okay.
So
Good.
you could always just keep having this card. And as of this card, we are quite open to any ideas about whether to include other information here as well. Yeah, because this is just for this is mostly for the social purposes. So we do actually want to have some feedback on how to make these things more usable, actually. So yeah, we are also kind of exploring if it's possible to add to the Apple Wallet at this moment, so that it's very kind of convenient for us to, let's say if we're an iOS user, I just can have a double click on my phone and then the CNS Web3 card will show up. And then let's say if anyone of you will be going to Dubai, probably I will show you this card again if we are met in Dubai. So perhaps everything will be better by that time. And yeah, I'm not sure. So if you are
Don't need anybody for somebody to scan this, they don't need anything, right? So this is
they don't need anything.
Kind of nice viral marketing built in.
Yeah, because one of the very frequent question we get from the community is that what's the difference between CNS and ADA handle? And one of the very important differences is that we are kind of looking at the market outside of the Cardano ecosystem. Like for this feature that we are trying to building out, we are actually trying to empower every Cardano ecosystem participant to have a gateway to try to convert people outside of the Cardano ecosystem to learn something about the Cardano ecosystem, get interested, get one CNS, maybe get some ADAs, and then maybe join our communities. That's how the community could be expanded. So this is also this are very kind of the core direction that we are going forward. We are not set up here directly competing with ADA handles. Yeah, do you have any questions? I see your
Yeah,
hand
actually,
raised up.
I have two questions. One is
Yeah.
regards to deregistration. Like if I have CNS and for some reason I don't want, like I want to kind of delete my account. Is it possible or no? And my second question is actually I asked it in chat that I saw the expiry in metadata. Does that mean we have an expiration date for CNS and we have like subscription model about that? Thank you.
Yeah, so for the first question, probably this feature is not finished yet. Is that upon clicking this edit, you could always delete the records. So probably it's just updating the inline datums. So you could do the deletion of record as well. So let's say if I'm going to transfer this Hinson.ada to James, and I don't want to have all of these records remain, I just have to delete off the records, build the transaction once, and then everything will be deleted. So this is the answering your first questions. So as of the second questions, for the expiry stuff, is just only a information built in the metadata. So let's say for this core feature, because this is built out from the CNS team, we will certainly incorporate the expiry features. Like if we check to your metadata and see that your CNS has been expired, and then we will not be that happy to host the Telegram bot for you. So that we will block these features. But as I have said, that is as kind of a soft limit, because any other parties or partners collaborating with CNS, they could also build out other utilities out of CNS. And we could not enforce them to check on this expiry every time. Like this is their business decisions. And from the CNS side, we are kind of happy to see anyone who are trying to extend the utility based on CNS. So from our side, we are just more in a position to advise other project or partners to also take the expiry into the consideration. But this is pretty much a soft limit, but it's not a hard limit, because all of the information you could always update as an inline datum to the blockchain, and the CNS team could not block you from doing so. And for the data consumer, they could always query the blockchain to get what information you have stored in the inline datum, and CNS team could not just intercept it. So so the expiry is the soft limit, and you can delete the record.
It could also tell you how relevant the information is. That could be a pretty cool gauge.
Yeah.
Someone with a green profile is constantly updating, and someone with a tan or neutral color just is sort of, turning into a ghost.
Yeah. So this is another very interesting angle as well, because let's say I'm very active in the Cardano ecosystem. Probably I would like to add as much information as possible attached to my CNS, because when I talk to, let's say, other Cardano digits or just the ecosystem members, we would just tend to quicker to have a click that we are all the contributor in the Cardano ecosystems. And then this is where the kind of the genuine connection could be built very quickly, because we could kind of rely on all these activities on the Cardano, let's say the blockchain itself, or any other stuff. And you could also always very easy to do some due diligence on me after I've set all this information here. Yeah, any question I missed in the chat box? Yeah, so it's pretty much the core feature of CNS. And perhaps I forgot to say this. If you scan this QR code and you got the Telegram in your mobile phone, there's a button called connect in Telegram, as I remember, so that it will be linked to the CNS bot. It's already hosting right now, so you could try this feature and ping me in the Telegram if you're trying to do that. Yeah, a question from John. Is that, and I'm pronouncing it correctly? You're on notes. You're on notes.
Muted. The one. Juan, you're muted.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, there he goes.
Thank you, James. Hey, first of all, glad to be back. It's been a while, but let's go to my question. Hinson, I am in the market for shopping for a decentralized domain. So, is this available in the market right now? If it is, what is the link that I can use for that?
Sorry, I not really get your question. Do you mean
Okay.
do we have connect to other domain or?
Let me try again.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm in the market for buying a decentralized domain, and wondering if this is already in the market, if not, when, and how can I get it?
Oh, do you mean for the CNS? It is not live yet, but it will be live probably somewhere during Cardano Summit in Dubai. It's early November, I would say. And if you want to get one, it's just going through the simple process. It's here, going to our main page, just search for the domain that you want, and you can just get it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So can you put the link for that in the chat, or even the?
Yeah, this is a development link, but I think I could also share it right now.
Okay.
Let me type it out. But for the production site, you could expect is just cns.space. It's a domain that we have. So currently we are using this link to do our development testing, and we could not promise any we could not promise all of the behavior will be kind of perfect right now, because we are still iterating through some very minor fixes on the front end. But yeah, so there's a link that you could try out. And in our production launch, we will be deploying into this link.
Got it.
But
okay,
it's not
good.
live yet.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your interest. Just also you can also join our Discord or follow the Twitter for the more closer loop of news, because most of our kind of the updates we posted in the Twitter probably will be some announcement in Discord as well. Yeah. Yeah. So probably I would say that's all for today, right? from CNS side, I say maybe we could leave the time to some more generic discussions or any other stuff. So I stop sharing from
Really
here.
good. It's inspiring and super thought-provoking. Yeah, anybody here having follow-up thoughts, like what you would do with this, or maybe what you would want it to do based on what you've seen so far?
So maybe I could share a bit of my thoughts. Because as I mentioned, I want to build something. It's like try to tie every piece of my Cardano activities onto this CNS, and it's very straightforward for us to just partner with some organizations or partners to incorporate that specific piece of information. But another direction, I would also welcome some of the thoughts and also feedback, or maybe brainstorming, is that how I could tie in some of the blockchain information into it as well. Like whenever I do transaction on maybe MinSwap or other DEXs, maybe those could be formulate some numbers also attached to the CNS as well. So there may be another angles of putting your activities tied to one digital identities. But yeah, as of this aspect, it's just an idea in my mind at this moment. And I did not have a concrete idea on how to execute it, or what are the piece of information that I would like to include on here. But yeah, that's an idea that we are always open to ideas. If you can think of any activities about your wallet or about yourself as a Cardano ecosystem participant, we also like to see it attached with the CNS. Do just let me know, and I will try to figure out the technical feasibility and also maybe try to implement it. Yeah.
Yeah, like trading histories are really interesting. I'm with Nori, like as we start thinking about certificates from different learning programs, that's what we're building with on Damio. The ability to collect those in one place and kind of show that connection. And maybe even, you know, one of the architectural decisions we made is that there's a lot of advantages to using different policy IDs when you're looking at role-based access control, but having like one way maybe to collect those. And I'm sure there's a breakthrough solution there. There's an innovation that we just have to think a little bit more about. And this might be a really fun way for us to collaborate, is thinking about, if I hold this CNS and I have several learner and contributor tokens over here, is there some way that my CNS could ease the friction for me in some way? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it could be kind of a central point to kind of accumulate all of the information. There may be a very quick thought is that it's certainly possible for us to just do the similar things, also doing a reference token and a reference validator. But there's a custom logic is that when the user presents some of the certificate tokens, so that they could update that piece of information into the user record reference tokens. So that might be the guards that so that we could deploy another set of validator and maintain policy specifically, let's say for the Endemio's certificates functionalities. So when you have a CNS, you could always show to others that I've got these Endemio certificates, and the users got its own discretion to update the information because it's inbuilt with the validator and the maintain policy that it just check whether you have presented in the input UTXO in your transactions. There may be a quick solution to do the collaborations, and I would say it does not take much of the it does not take a lot of effort from the CNS team to integrate these features or maybe assisting in building these features. So maybe we could have another separate call to discuss about it. Yeah.
To come on that. Mix had some ideas for that.
Yep,
Hey,
actually, I would like to see another data type to attach to CNS as well. And that data type would be actually the built-in data. And the reason would be because, I mean, you know, we, in sometimes a couple of months ago in Gimbalabs, we have a session to investigate and research and have a journey about role-based access control model, and we found that there is a limitation. It is inherently inside access control, I mean role-based access control model. So because it is not scalable that much, and the other model would be attribute access control model. So what would be the attribute? Like beside all these accounts and username, what if we can attach whole set of datums? But the type would be built-in data, and the contract will not care like what would be that data. Other contracts or other projects will define that built-in data based on whatever they need or whatever attribute will be assigned to that person. So I don't know how you guys thought about this, adding a datum to a datum, which you guys didn't think of it or you have no plan over it, but it is an option that people can attach a datum to datum, which can open some features for themselves, you know, all this.
Thank you for your feedback. And I could expose a bit of details on our project is that the validator actually do not care which kind of data is attached with the user records. So currently in our Printer script, I'm just checking against built-in data, as you have said, so that in the later stage, maybe we could just change the data architecture to anything that we want, as long as the information could be stored, and we could just change the resolver SDK accordingly, accommodate with that data architecture. But currently, in the user record, it's kind of data structure agnostic. Is that as long as you're attaching something with it, the validator will pass the validations. Because, yeah, am I answering your questions or?
Yeah, you do, but because I thought that there is some validation. Like, did I add a username or byte string or no? I add just integer. But I think now I understand. Like the contract doesn't care, but as long as there is something, like it is not empty UTXO without any data. But I think if I understand it correctly, the contract does not validate that nature or what are the information inside that data. Am I right?
Yeah, currently we do not validate the user records because it's up to the user's discretion to configure that information. If they ever try to bypass our transaction making process to try to update the data by themselves, it's just the user themselves will suffer it, because the resolver SDK could not resolve the information, and then there'll be no utility out there. So we kind of resorted to a soft limit, but not doing it as a hard limit on the script level.
You see. Yeah, great. Thank you.
I've heard Chris make that exact same argument. It's nice that we're aligned on that, just in different places. Steve, hey.
Hey guys, thanks Henson for being here. I appreciate it. I kind of.
You're welcome.
I kind of just get the higher stuff, but it's interesting to hear the tech talk. And I may have a stupid question here. I'm just curious. Like if you set up a domain with what you're providing, and it. And it kind of remains Cardano specific, and by that I mean, you're not pasting a bunch of legacy internet shit on that website. I mean, this should be a more secure and hack-proof website than a typical website, right? I mean, am I too pie in the sky about that?
What do you mean by hackable website? I'm not really gathered.
I've seen and been on websites that were, just wrecked by hackers, but I'm thinking if it's all based on blockchain, what you're putting on your website, then you kind of should be sort of bulletproof.
Yeah, because all of the kind of the most critical logic is kind of have the on-chain guarantee, like let's say the minting process, and also the user record updating process. There will be some sort of user kind of the on-chain guarantee, like the on-chain would guarantee that kind of in the minting process, every record is updated successfully and there'll be no duplication. There's a core of the the on-chain guarantee guard. And as of the user record updating, there'll be one very critical guard, is that we are checking whether CNS token is in the any of the input UTXO, so that only the user of the user record could update their records. So those are the core core guard that we have.
So this is the reason that I think about it this way is I spend a lot of time these days with what I'm doing, which is mindless physical work. But I spend a lot of time about what makes how to make businesses put their business, whatever it is, whether it's a restaurant or you make boots or whatever it is. But how do you convince them that it's a good idea to put all of their business accounting on the blockchain, right?
I see. I
The
see.
reason to do that is because you want to be a good guy business, right? You want your employees
Yeah,
to trust the numbers that you tell them. You want your employees to trust that they're getting paid what they should be getting paid, that whatever fees or commissions that an employee might be earning is true. And so like a website is an easy way to do that. But if you can also say, yeah, nobody's going to fuck with this information, you can really trust this information.
Yeah.
Because it's on the blockchain.
So I think
that's
yeah. So
a
I think
good sales point, for y'all.
yeah. So I think the kind of the core idea of this is that this is probably in the very early iteration in the CNS project team as well, is to think about which piece of the application logic is something that you certainly don't want to be kind of the compromise or hack it. So in the CNS, it's pretty straightforward. The first is that we don't want to ever have any chance to have duplicate token name. This is the most important problem that we are solving, and is quite a very hard engineering problem, because when the scale up to a certain level, it will cost a lot of on-chain information, and it's very expensive to do the checking. And this is the first very important things that we want to remain on-chain. And the second is that for the user record updating things, that's a more straightforward problem, but that's a pain point that we want to leverage blockchain to solve this. We only authorize the CNS owner to update their own records. So technically, we are just checking if it's included in the input UTXO, so that the wallet kind of had the end-to-end control into the user records, but no others could compromise anything. Even the CNS team could not compromise it, because we do not have your CNS in our wallet, and we could not build that transactions to get past the validator. So these are the two core things that, we want to remain very extremely decentralized and with on-chain guarantee. But for the other things, let's say if you can compromise our front end, our back end, that will be our CNS project team to be suffered. Like you can mint many CNS out of nothing and paying no fees if you can compromise our servers. So that's our team to be suffering, but not the end user. Let's say you have already minted your CNS out of the state. You can just keep using it and configure your user records, and nothing will be changed just by our system to be compromised. Right. So I think this is the core kind of the ideas behind your question, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I because I think about just like individual small business, to even large business, like there's going to be a wave of side chains coming into Cardano, right? That are going to be built. How do they best express themselves? Right. And I think using your interface and your DNS service is a great way to go if that level of security is clear, can be demonstrated.
Yeah, another side of your question, or another learning, is that it's kind of from a developer point of view, it's kind of very easy to prone to over guarding everything. Just like what Mi has been mentioning, he's kind of worrying that if we are just checking there's a free mapping in the user record in the script level, those are something that is over guarding. Like you make your script extremely stringent so that the application might be more easy to have some UX crashes, or difficult to use, difficult to build the transactions, or sort of related stuff. That's one of the kind of another angles that as a developer, very easy to fall into this mistake. But the key is that, just going back to the question of thinking about what is the true point that you want to add value to using the blockchain technology. There might be just a little bit of the thing, let's say in one business idea, maybe just 10 to 15% of the logic that you actually do want to have the on-chain guarantee, but not everything. I mean, that's the idea of the Cardano blockchain as well, because every transaction is very stringent and execution unit is very tight. Everything is just very tight. That forces us to think about this logic more clearly and carefully. Yeah, I would say.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah,
Hi, can you hear me?
yeah, can you hear?
I was wondering, like, what if you wanted to use this to target a website that's deployed on IPFS, like using the interplanetary naming service. Like they have like a cryptographic hash or some sort of hash that can point to your current state of whatever you have deployed on IPFS. And what do you think about using this naming service to point to a website that way, like on that?
Yeah, that's something that we didn't think of right now, I would say. So yeah, maybe that's
Well, like
an interesting area to explore.
if you can, like you were talking about how the owner of the token has the ability to change what's
Yeah.
deployed. I don't know. I was just wondering, like if it's just based on what you support, or like if they were to support something, someone wants to deploy something that's separate from what's supported by your team, like having something that targets maybe a
That's interesting.
IPFS site or something.
Yeah, so for me, I do have to take more time into reading this. This is pretty huge. And
Yeah, I dropped that on you.
like, yeah, but going back to, let's say if you're someone you would like to kind of has the extended utility, I would say, surrounding CNS, we are certainly very happy to support you to do that. The workflow would be something like probably you are going to deploy another set of reference validator and reference token, and then you can customize what kind of information you want to host on that particular reference token, and then we could kind of integrate it into our Resolver SDK so that everyone could just using the same repo to resolve the information that you have configured. And let's say you built something with this IPNS and then routing to the kind of the website, is it, or any other records to serve your application, you could certainly do that. And yeah, from the CNS team, we're kind of, yeah, very welcome to any of the kind of the extended utility. But if you talk about if our team would think about doing this, I do really have to take more time into reading this prior to answer your question.
Yeah, like like if you were talking earlier about giving people freedom to use it for what they want to use it, I'm not sure on the how that setup would be, is like the just the way that you would, the user experience for doing that. But yeah, that was just something I'm interested in doing with something that allows individual users to have like a namespace where you don't have any overlaps, like where everybody has a separate that's like you were saying, that's the point, is to keep every name separate. That's similar to Ada handle. I've been thinking about Ada handle. I haven't looked into your project before, but like if you want to deploy something like information to IPFS, then have some way of resolving like that you have a certain namespace that targets the work that you've deployed on IPFS or something.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I really have to look into that.
I have a
And
feeling we're
yeah,
going to be having some follow-up sessions about exactly that kind of question. There's a couple of things.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
first of
I
all,
cannot make the judgment
congrats.
right ahead here.
Congrats on getting to this point. Thank you. Thanks for presenting late hours. Kinson, it's good to see you here too. Thanks for being here, guys. It means a lot. And looking forward to catching up with you guys more on your schedule sometime very soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We'll have some follow-up
Thank you for having
conversations,
me.
maybe here at Playground, but maybe at live coding too for some deeper tech dives.
Yeah. So if there's any kind of the quick question or follow-ups, just feel free to ping me anywhere. As long as you can find me, I probably answer to any questions, or I'm very happy to have any kind of the technical discussions on any things. Yeah, it's just a small communities, right?
Summit's going to be really fun. I wish I could be there with you. But
Yeah.
I'll catch you at the next one. Have a blast. That's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks everybody. See you next week
And
or sometime soon. And
yeah,
Thank you.
see
Thank
you
you.
all
Thank you,
around.
guys.
thanks.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye.